Hi guys, it's Bob from Greybeard Models. Welcome back to my channel. Yeah, it's been a week. As I said on my last video, I was going to take a bit of time out. There was a couple of reasons. One, obviously the Queen's funeral on Monday, and then for the rest of this week I've been away watching cricket. So I was watching 4 days, which actually turned out to only be 3, because Surrey won the county championship this year. And so we didn't need the last day, which was Friday, yesterday. So I thought, right, better catch up, see where we're at. Still getting on with the Gecko Ambulance, the Katy Ambulance, and also I've got some plans to deal with the 4 characters from the film Ice Cold in Alex, and I thought it'd be an interesting project, once the ambulance is built, to create a diorama with the 4 figures from the film. So without me waffling on too much, let's get down to the bench and I'll show you where we are with the actual ambulance itself. So here we go. So the first thing to do is I thought I'd show you the underside. I've recently just added the wheels. I'd left the wheels off for a number of reasons. One, the actual mountings on the front wheels, let's get me pointy stick, the mounting on the front wheels is actually quite a frail mounting, and when I had the drum brakes on there, it was wobbling all over the place. You certainly couldn't have it in place, fitted, ready to do the posture of the front wheels without the nose on. So anyway, I've done that, and I'm just working on, you know, touching up the paint. There's a couple of marks there and things like that, touching the paint up and getting everything sorted out. But yeah, so I've got the underside done. The wheels are a bit weathered and a bit of dust on them. I've used this Vallejo pigments, which is desert dust, which is a really good product. So I've done that with that, and then the next thing is we'll flip it over and then I'll show you what it looks like on the top side. So on the top side, I've got the wall in place. There's part of the clamping mechanism there for the spare wheel. Unfortunately that broke, so I'm waiting until the time when I'm going to fit the spare wheel into this location here before I put that together and repair it. But the nose is all done with the engine all lined up and everything done. The spark plug leads and the lead from the coil down to the distributor, I've got that lead in place now. So that's all sort of done. The cab floor is all weathered and using that Vallejo dust. I've got that all in place now. Obviously I haven't put the steering wheel in place yet, don't need to do that, and to be honest it gets in the way. And then the back end, I've used a very, very light colour. I think I used, yeah, the Vallejo 71288, which is a Portland stone colour. There's some discussion around what colour the internals at the back were. When I've looked at restored vehicles, they tend to be white. I think that's probably close to what they maybe were originally as they came out of the factory, but I think they would have weathered and changed. You know, we've had that discussion about colour, so I decided on the Portland stone colour. I was going to go with an off-white, got this Vallejo model colour off-white, but when I run some tests on that, it looked too bright, and I didn't really think that looked appropriate. So anyway, we've got the stretcher runners in place, we've got the mattresses are in place. I've done the steps folded down, although the kit doesn't I think I brought this up before. No kit doesn't tell you how to do that. You can actually work it out yourself. It's quite straightforward. And again, done some weathering on the wheels. So we're sort of in place with that. I've got lots of little sub-assemblies all put together, and they're all ready to go onto the main assembly, which we'll do. I wanted to mention the floor as well. The floor is a sort of brown colour. All the reference materials, I don't know, if those of you in the UK that have used hospitals back in the day, you'll remember most floors seem to be this brown lino colour, and that's what I've tried to replicate there. And obviously it's a bit dusty and dirty because it's the back of an ambulance in the sand. So all of that's done. That's where we are with the ambulance. The next thing to look at is where we're going to go with the figures, and I'll be back to you shortly once I've got rid of this and got my plans in place for you. So the first thing to look at with the 4 characters in the film is the height of the characters. Now this becomes evident throughout the film. If you've watched the film, MSM Tom Pugh and Van der Poel, the South African, are big blokes, and Captain Anson is only a little guy. Now Captain Anson was played by Sir John Mills, and Sir John Mills is 5'7". MSM Pugh was played by Harry Andrews. Harry Andrews was 6'2", and Van der Poel, the South African, was played by Anthony Quayle. Anthony Quayle was 6'1", and the nurse in the film, Sister Murdoch, was played by Sylvia Sims, and Sylvia Sims was 5'6". So as you can see, the characters within the film are going to be different heights. So one of the things to do is to sort of try and create the 4 characters, different heights and different statures. So obviously the first obvious choice is Sister Murdoch. Now I've had a look around. There are very few female military figures that are suitable for this period. In fact, you know, nobody does a nursing sister in North Africa World War II figure. You know, I think if any of these companies out there that make figures are watching, come on guys, you need to start producing the female characters. So anyway, I'm still looking for a suitable donor figure for that. The other 3 figures, all the guys, they're fairly straightforward. Captain Anson 5'7", and Pugh and Van der Poel at 6'1", 6'2", fairly straightforward. So what we've got to look at, I've got to have a look at the stash of figures that I have, and ones that are suitable. The other characteristic that is common throughout these 3 guys is throughout the film they're wearing shorts. So you know, they're 8th Army in the desert. It's 1941, and it's, you know, it's a desert characteristic. So they're wearing shorts, shirts, and MSM Pugh and Captain Anson on occasion are wearing officer hats, which is fine. Van der Poel doesn't wear any headgear. So we've got the 3 figures. So we need 8th Army type figures, and for those 3 characters. So let's have a look at what I've got in the stash, and we'll see how we try and solve this problem. So the first thing I took out of the stash was this kit. I don't think I've shown you this one before, but this is the special edition mini art kit. It's number 35324, and it's called a Bantam 40 BRC. it's essentially a Jeep, and it has 3 figures, all in shorts, which is good, and an officer style figure there. So that's potentially one of these figures might be a donor. Let's move that out of the way because of the glare. The next thing I've got in the stash is this old Italeri kit, which is Commonwealth Tank Troops. It's Italer's kit, number 308, as you can see, and it has this selection of figures. This looks like potentially could be, if you can swap a head out, you know, that sort of thing. So there's potential there for donor figures. And bear in mind, we want 3 male figures. And the next set that I got, which is in my stash, which is this special edition from Mini Art 35299, and it's tank riders, obviously in desert garb. Sorry about the glare, but obviously in desert garb because they're all wearing shorts. So again, these are potentially donor figures. Now the next set that I've got from the stash is this Airfix British 8th Army multi-post figures. The difference with these is these are 1/32, and there we have a potential there for having bigger blokes, because 1/32 figures are larger than 1/35. So potentially the bigger blokes, which is Pugh and Van der Poel, could be made from these donor figures, and they would actually stand taller than Captain Anson at 5'7". And they would, what you have to do is use the 1/32 figures as the base, but you kit them out with 1/35 scale equipment, so that it looks like they're big guys holding the same sort of size. You know, a pistol, a rifle, whatever is always the same size. It's the humans that are different sizes. So that's potentially the 2 figures, because these figures come out at around about 54mm in height in these kits, which is why I think they were 1/32, because they would complement 54mm, which was almost like a standard military figure doing a single pose figure. So I think that's why they were chosen by Airfix as that scale. Of course, the only problem that I've got is heads. So let's get those out now. So I got these sets of heads from Hornet. So there's 5 heads there wearing officer style caps, or British Army officer style caps. There's a lot of shots in the film where nobody's wearing headgear, or only Pugh's wearing headgear. So Captain Anson is sort of bareheaded, but he's got a haircut type of thing going on, if you know what I mean. So I've got this from these Hornet heads. These are bare heads with World War II haircuts, which are quite good. These are resin heads as well, and these ones, which are just listed as bare heads, they've got some hair sort of marks on those heads, but in the film, Van der Poel has got a very short haircut, and that's what else. I've got these Hornet ones. These are from a company here in the UK called Hysterex, but I'm sure they're available worldwide. Yeah, these are really good. These are really good resin heads. they add some characterization to the figures, because the expressions on them, you know, you've got open mouths, you've got there's a, I don't know if you can see it, there's sort of, that one there is smirking, this one here has sort of got his mouth open. You know, they're very good. They add extra character to your figures. So going on to the main problem, which is getting Sister Murdoch. And the only kit I've got in the stash at the moment that's got a female figure is this one here. So you guys over the pond will probably have seen this. This is by Master Box, Women at War, US Navy Waves. It's a bit of a misnomer really, because there's 4 figures in this box. 2 of them are men, which is odd, isn't it, really? And these 2 and 2 females. The back shows that you can do the officer figure, that naval rating, or that naval rating, dependent on obviously situation, and these 2 characters here. Now the reason I pulled these out is because they're very slight figures, so they're representative of a female figure, which obviously Sister Murdoch was. So it might well be that I can use one of these figures with some sculpting to use a Sister Murdoch. The height of these figures is actually quite complementary as well. In 1/35th scale, Sister Murdoch's figure height would be about 48mm. Captain Anson, slightly larger, he would be about 49mm high, and Pugh and Vanderpoel 54 to 53mm in height. So this is, you know, if all 4 were stood in a group, which is potentially a position, they would then be different heights, which is what I'm trying to achieve. Anyway, those are what I'm planning to do in terms of figures. Hope you found that interesting. Hope you appreciate the problem, and we'll get on and do some initial builds and sculpting for the next sort of video, where I can show you what the figures will look like, and hopefully in that video we'll also have the ambulance finished. I've also got a plan for a base, so we'll do a sort of diorama with those 4 figures. Anyway, if you've stuck it through this lot, fine, thank you very much indeed. I do appreciate it. Please leave your comments below, and if you do like it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot guys, bye for now.